The moment the final whistle blew, the scoreboard frowned at 35-25, a decisive victory for our team. Cheers from the sidelines surged like a tide, but the kids on the court were merely catching their breath, sweat dripping from their foreheads and hitting the wooden floor, sending up tiny splashes. There were no ecstatic hugs, no over-the-top celebrations, just a few pats on the back, their eyes reflecting a calmness beyond their years, as if this outcome had been exactly what they expected all along. But only they themselves knew how many early mornings of dribbling, how many evenings of shooting practice, how many pairs of sneakers with worn-out soles, and how many times they'd fallen only to get back up. All of that lay hidden behind this expected outcome. Opening, the footsteps of youth. During the warm-up before the game, the gym was filled with a mixture of rubber and sweat. The opposing players were all broad-shouldered and burly, looking half a head taller than our kids, with more defined muscles. People in the stands whispered, "There's quite a difference in build. It's probably going to be a tough one." Our kids simply went about their stretches, dribbling and shooting in silence. The sound of the basketball hitting the floor was crisp and rhythmic, like some ancient ritual. The captain stood at the free throw line with a gentle flick of his wrist. The ball traced a beautiful arc and swished through the net. He picked up the ball, stepped back to his spot, and took another shot. Another swish. 1, 2, 3. After sinking 7 in a row, he finally stopped, walked to the center of the team, and high-fived each player. The moment the jump ball was tossed, the entire gym fell silent. The referee tossed the ball high into the air, and both teams' centers jumped simultaneously. The opposing center was indeed taller and his fingertips touched the ball first, but our player didn't give up. He shifted his body slightly in midair and, with a deft flick of his wrist, managed to deflect the ball, which landed right in the hands of our guard. "Great play," someone on the sidelines whispered. The instant the guard caught the ball, he shot forward like an arrow. He wasn't very tall, but he was incredibly fast. His footwork as nimble as a fawn's. Two opposing players closed in to block him, but with a quick change of direction, he slipped through the gap between them, as if it had been left there just for him. As he drove to the basket, the opposing center had already retreated into position, spreading his arms wide to block his path like a wall. The guard didn't hesitate, nor did he force a layup. He simply flicked his wrist, passing the ball behind his back to the forward trailing behind him. The forward caught the ball, jumped and shot, all in one fluid motion. The ball grazed the backboard and dropped through the net. 2-0. The entire sequence took less than 10 seconds. Only then did the cheers from the stands truly erupt, but the kids on the court simply retreated quickly to their half of the court, set up their defensive formation and remained expressionless. It was as if those 2 points weren't worth celebrating, merely the first step in their plan. 2. Stalemate, a back-and-forth second quarter. At the end of the first quarter, the score was 8-6. We were leading, but by a razor-thin margin. The opposing team's physical advantage became apparent right from the first quarter. Their forward was incredibly aggressive, charging into the paint several times and scoring while holding off defenders. Our kids were knocked all over the place, but they didn't complain or back down. Every time they fell, they quickly got back up, brushed off their pants, and continued defending. As the second quarter began, the game turned into a back-and-forth battle. You score a basket, we answer with one. You run a fast break, we respond with a mid-range jumper. The margin hovered between 2 and 3 points the entire time, with neither team able to pull away. One play left a lasting impression on everyone. The opposing forward drove to the basket with the ball, and the physical contact was intense. Our defender was knocked back 2 steps and nearly fell, but he didn't reach out to commit a foul, nor did he give up. Instead, as he retreated, he quickly shifted his center of gravity, and the moment the opponent jumped for the layup, he leaped up as well. He was nearly a head shorter than his opponent, but he jumped high and reached out with his arms. Smack! A clean, decisive block. The ball was swatted straight out of bounds. After landing, he said nothing. He just shook out his slightly numb hand and continued to cut to his position. The coach on the sidelines clapped his hands, a barely perceptible smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He knew that this block meant far more than just a successful defensive play. It had shattered the opponent's confidence and built up our team's momentum. Midway through the second quarter, our team began to change tactics. We stopped going head-to-head with the opponent and instead sped up our passing rhythm, using our movement to stretch their defense. The ball moved swiftly along the perimeter, from the left to the right, from the top of the key to the corner, leaving the opponent's defense playing catch-up and gradually exposing their weaknesses. With 2 minutes left in the second quarter, our point guard held the ball beyond the three-point line. The opposing player, thinking he was going to pass, took a half step back. Seizing that split-second opening, he leaped and launched a three-pointer. The ball spun through the air, and everyone's eyes followed its path. Swish! It dropped cleanly through the net, 15-11. That three-pointer was like a pebble tossed into a lake, sending ripples across the court. On the next possession, the opposing team missed their shot, and our team seized the opportunity to launch a fast break, with our captain scoring on a layup. 17-11, the lead widened to 6 points for the first time. The opposing team quickly called a timeout. At halftime, the score was 19-13. We were leading by 6 points. During halftime, the locker room was quiet, no one spoke, and no one seemed particularly excited. The kids simply drank water, wiped away sweat, and listened as the coach laid out the game plan. Their eyes held a focus and a composure uncharacteristic of their age. It was as if they weren't playing a U12 game, but carrying out a mission they simply had to get right. 3. Pulling ahead, the turning point of the third quarter. After the second half began, the opposing team launched a fierce counterattack. They sped up their offensive rhythm and, capitalizing on their physical advantage, repeatedly drove to the paint. For a few minutes, our defense became disorganized, and we conceded 2 consecutive fast breaks, narrowing the lead to just 2 points. The tension in the stands mounted once again, but the captain quickly stabilized the situation. Holding the ball at the top of the key, he signaled for his teammates to spread out. The opposing guard closed in for tight defense, applying strong physical pressure. Instead of rushing to drive to the basket, the captain lowered his center of gravity, dribbling left and right as he looked for an opening. Suddenly, he accelerated and drove past the defender on the right. The opposing guard hurried to keep up, but as the captain drove, he suddenly performed a behind-the-back dribble to switch to his left hand, followed by a crossover that brought the ball back to his right. The entire sequence flowed as smoothly as water, like a poem. The opposing guard was so thoroughly fooled that he lost his balance, stumbled and nearly fell. The entire arena erupted in a roar. The captain didn't pause, nor did he glance at his opponent. He drove to the three-point line, came to a sudden stop, jumped, and released a mid-range jumper. The ball went in, 21-17. After that shot, our team's morale soared. Over the next few minutes, our defense improved steadily. We had steals, blocks, and rebounds. Everything. Meanwhile, the opposing team's offense began to grow frantic. Their shot selection worsened, and turnovers piled up. Halfway through the third quarter, our team went on a small scoring run. First, a guard made a steal and scored on a fast break layup. Then the center grabbed an offensive rebound and scored on the second chance, followed by the captain sinking a jump shot near the free throw line. After scoring 6 straight points, the score became 27-19, extending our lead to 8 points. The opposing team called another timeout. After the timeout, their offense showed some signs of life. Their centers scored consecutive baskets in the paint, barely keeping them in the game. But our team maintained control of the game's tempo, staying calm and methodical, taking it one play at a time. At the end of the third quarter, the score was 29-23. The lead remained at 6 points. 5-3, the finale, a dominant fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, the decisive moment. The opposing team had clearly given it their all. Every player was gasping for breath, their jerseys soaked through and clinging to their backs. Yet their eyes still burned with determination. They were a worthy opponent. They would never give up until the very last moment. But our kids were even more composed. Right from the start of the fourth quarter, we stepped up our defensive intensity. Everyone was running, everyone was reaching out, and everyone was shouting instructions to their teammates. The opponent's passing lanes were cut off. Their driving routes were blocked. Their shots were contested, and our players were battling for rebounds. Basketball is a 5-man game. That's easy to say, but very few teams can actually pull it off. And our kids did just that. Halfway through the fourth quarter, we executed the most spectacular offensive play of the game. The players passed the ball back and forth on the perimeter, from left to right, from the perimeter to the paint, and back out to the perimeter again. The opposing defense was forced to scramble all over the court, like puppets being led by the nose. Finally, the ball found its way to the forward in the corner, who had 3 meters of open space in front of him. He raised his hand and took the shot. 3-pointer good. 3-2-2. Throughout the entire play, the ball didn't stay in any one player's hands for more than 2 seconds. 5 passes, 4 players touched the ball, and it ended with an open 3-pointer. This is what team basketball looks like. After that 3-pointer, the game was essentially decided. The opposing team's offense grew increasingly frantic, missing shot after shot, while our team steadily controlled the pace and ran down the clock. In the final minute, the opposing team committed a tactical foul, and we made the free throws, sealing the score at 35-25. The final buzzer sounded. A 10-point margin, a decisive victory. Epilogue. What matters more than victory? After the game, the kids lined up to shake hands with the opposing team. Their expressions were calm, no smugness, no mockery, just a sincere high five with each opponent and a simple good luck. This is the etiquette of basketball, and it embodies the spirit of sportsmanship. Winning is certainly cause for celebration, but what matters more than the win itself is how we won. This decisive victory wasn't due to one player's stellar performance, nor was it down to luck or the opponent being too weak. It was the result of day to in, day to out training, the seamless teamwork of 5 players, a determination to fight for every possession, and a mindset that remained calm when trailing and humble when leading. The maturity these 12-year-olds displayed on the court sometimes surprised even adults. They understand the meaning of teamwork, the value of perseverance, the importance of respecting their opponents, and how to remain humble in victory and undaunted in defeat. Basketball has never been as simple as just putting the ball in the hoop. It teaches children how to win within the rules, how to lose with dignity, how to work together with teammates toward a common goal, how to bounce back from failure.